There's an old saying that goes, mess with the bull, you'll get the horns. But for this sculpture, the horns were the least of my problems. This is the making of Bullseye. This is a piece of maple burl, and if you watched my last video, the whale shark, you'll notice this is the same piece of wood that I used for the pedestal. And after seeing how beautiful this piece of burl was, I knew this is the exact piece of wood I wanted to use for this bull sculpture. I've had this sculpture on my bucket list for a very long time. I like the different color contrast between the horns and the skull, which I plan on using different species of wood for both of those. And there's just something about skulls that really interests me. I think it's the details and the sharp angles, and it just draws me in. I don't know, I can't really explain it. Anywho, I'm excited to get started, and the first thing I need to do is make 3 layers of this because I need the thickness of the skull, and I don't have it in this slab, so I'm going to laminate 3 layers of wood. Let's get started. I need to make these pieces perfectly flat and parallel to one another so I have a perfect glue-up line. The problem is they are not flat, and the slab was too wide to go through my thickness planer, so I had to basically create a little shim and a flat board and then send that through the planer, making the top perfectly flat before then flipping it over, doing the other side, and then I have 2 perfectly flat and parallel sides. Once the main 3 sections were glued up, I realized I still needed more height on the teeth and then these 2 little horn things on the back of the skull. So I found some grain matching offcuts and glued them on, and while that dries, let's start on the horns. While I was cleaning up some of my offcuts, I stumbled upon this piece, and I instantly got inspired. This looks exactly like a fish body looking down, so I thought, how cool would this be if I could just quickly carve this into a fish and then give it to my kids as a little surprise present. And don't be all judgy on me, I'm just trying to carve a generic fish shape. I'm not going for any kind of perfection here, just a little toy for my kids. There's only one problem, and if you're a parent, maybe you can guess the problem. I made you guys this to share.
Oh my god! Look at that.
5 minutes later.
I want it! I want it! I want it! I want it!
Guys, here. Give me this. I can solve this. Here you go. Here you go.
Oh my god.
If parenting has taught me anything, it's this. Give them 2 items, or prepare for war. Alright, now all the glue's dried up and we are ready to start carving. This part of the carving process is all about just carving down to my lines and really roughing out this shape. And while I do that, I want to thank this video sponsor, Zoc Doc. Zoc Doc is a free platform that lets you search and compare in-network doctors right from your phone. You can read reviews from real patients, see the doctor's calendar openings, and instantly book a visit virtually or in person, often within 24 to 72 hours. No more waiting months to get that basic checkup. I love being able to see reviews of each doctor so I can help pick the one that best fits my needs. Taking care of your health just got easier and much more efficient. Head on over to ZocDoc.com/BM Sculptures to get started and check that appointment off your to-do list. Thanks, Zoc Doc. All right, let's get back to the carving. I'm pretty happy with how this is turning out so far. I put in a solid 8 hours of carving today and I am absolutely exhausted. So that's all I'm doing for the day, and let's get after this thing tomorrow. All right, something I want to address is this big void in the piece of wood. Now, me 2 years ago would be losing sleep over this. I would try every way I possibly could to fix this or to patch it or to fill it with epoxy. But what I've kind of learned, especially when doing skulls, is people rarely find a 100% intact skull. Even the 3D rendering I'm using, if you look at the model, it's missing teeth. So I think this little void right here could actually end up making this piece look a little more authentic, like it was sitting out for years before someone found it. So I'm just not going to worry about this. I'm going to carve away, and in the end, if I think it looks really bad, I could then think about patching this or filling it with epoxy or something like that. But I'm just not going to worry about it and continue carving. So let's get to that. All right, I made a pretty big mistake here. So this bone right here should actually come up to here and connect right here. I carved it all the way out, and now I don't know if I'm going to be able to fix this. You can kind of see the picture here. It goes to there and then back and then comes around. So basically, and I had it drawn right, I just kept carving. This needs to attach. I don't know how to do that. I'm going to try to, I guess, carve it down and see what it looks like, but it's not looking so good right now. So let's try and figure it out. Hey guys, I have a goal of reaching 1 million subscribers, and this is the closest I've ever been. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing, liking, sharing this video. Each and every one of you can help me reach my goal. Thank you guys. Let's get back to the video. Did I fix it? I'm not really sure yet. I want to carve some more of the details and then see if it starts coming together. And if it does come together how I'm envisioning it, this sculpture will be listed for sale over on my website. I'll put a link in the description, or you could just head directly to my website and check it out. I'm always interested in the homes my sculptures go to. I'm kind of envisioning like a Texas ranch this goes to or something like that. But sometimes you guys really surprise me. This could end up going to a tropical place like Hawaii or Florida, who knows? Anyways, this part right here is probably the scariest portion I had to carve in the entire skull. It was super fragile, and I just tried my best to not break it. Now it's time to start carving the teeth, and I need to decide whether I want to keep them all or purposefully have a couple missing, just like 3D rendering or skulls you find out in nature. What do you guys think? For now, I'm just going to carve them all and then make the decision after the fact. I ultimately decided to keep all the teeth because there's still that void in the wood already just above the right jaw, and I think that adds enough authenticity to make this look like a real skull. What do you guys think? I'm going to start sanding this thing down, and then I could add all the other details. There's a ton of little sutures, I believe they're called, or I like to call them skull rivers in these skulls, kind of going throughout the top of the skull. So a lot of details still need to be added, but I need to sand it and get it nice and smooth before I can add those. Check out this wood grain. This is absolutely beautiful. This is such a cool piece of wood, and I just throw on some water here to give it a water pop, which will help in the sanding process. And you can really see what this thing is going to look like with finish, and I am just so impressed and so happy with how this thing looks. I spent the entire day sanding down this skull, and just when I thought I was on the home stretch, I remembered I haven't even touched the horns yet. So I get a good night's sleep, and the next day I am ready to get these things done. We are looking good. If you're curious, I used a little 5-minute epoxy. I mixed in a bunch of walnut sawdust. That way the gap between the maple and the walnut should be pretty much seamless, even if there's a tiny little hint of a gap in there. That sawdust and an epoxy should fill it up completely. All right, let's get to carving these horns. This has been a ton of hard work, as you can see by my shirt, but it is paying off. This thing looks like a real skull, and I can't wait to finish the other horn and then put finish on this sculpture to see what it really looks like. Alright, it's time to start thinking about the pedestal. I have a beautiful piece of Bastogne walnut here, cut it into a rectangle, and then I made an angular wedge that will help support this sculpture because it is a pretty heavy and large skull. This is a life-size bull skull, and I want this thing displayed at a 45-degree angle, so it's going to be a little tricky, but I'm up for the challenge. And now we are on the home stretch. This sculpture has taken over 3 weeks to complete, and the only thing left to do is put on a finish, and then we are done. I'm really liking this display so far, but I think it's a little too high, so I go ahead and chop off about 1 inch of that brass, and this is the perfect height that I think makes this thing look just awesome. I am so fortunate to get to do what I love for a living, and it's because each and every one of you that watch these videos like, share, and subscribe that I am able to continue this passion. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing, and if you're interested in purchasing this sculpture or any other one of my sculptures that are still available, check out my website and I'll put a link in the description. And without further ado, here is the bullseye.